The second warm-up lesson will focus on facial animation. We'll discuss some fundamentals and essential points to keep in mind when doing this process. This file is also in the My Data folder, and it's called warmup02_lesson_01. It's actually the end of the first warm-up lesson. Okay, so we'll actually be just adding on to that. Let's now take a look at the end result of this warm-up lesson to figure out what we're going to be working on. Alright, so I'll start that from its first frame and hit play. And that's what we're going to be doing, just taking this information and applying it onto our character. Okay, and this process of facial animation is obviously something very important. We want to get down right because we want to be able to persuade to the audience that this character is just like them in a way. Okay, we want to keep in mind empathy. We want to have the audience be able to empathize or relate with our characters. And when animating the face, the most important area we want to get down right is the eyes. Okay, because that's the area that we have most of our focus on. And another principle in animation that we're going to keep in mind is exaggeration. That's very important. Even if you were to animate something photoreal, for example, you'd still have to add a little bit of exaggeration to the movement, because if you don't, the animation may still look a little awkward. The character may look a little bit too stiff. Okay, so we can now stop this and minimize it. So that's what we're going to be working on, and again, it's just to help us to not only be more comfortable with the main project, but also with any other animation projects you'll be working on. We'll be using a facial animation preset too. So if we go ahead and select it, it's right here. Okay, and it takes us to our face cam and our face user interface cam. Okay, so we can focus on those two. And if you don't have it loaded up, what you can do is go to a panel preset that you don't really use. Like this one was the Hypershade perspective panel. Okay, if I don't really use that, so what you can do is right mouse button, click on it, and there it is, facial animation right at the bottom of the list. So once you select it, it should take you here. And this preset is going to make it more convenient for us to animate the face under situations where animating the face would be a little bit troublesome. So if we go to our perspective, for example, let's say if we had to animate the face where the character was turned upside down and perhaps rotated about 180 degrees in the Y, like that. Okay, notice it would be a little bit troublesome to animate the face like this. Okay, but if we go to our preset, watch. Notice our character's face is still upright and the GUI is too. Okay, so you can see from just utilizing this certain preset how more convenient it's going to be on our part to animate our character's face. Okay, so we can go back to our perspective now and bring the neck control back to its default if you moved it at all. And another thing we're going to be doing is creating a shot camera. We're going to keep it more of like a production type environment in our scene, and that's going to help us to focus on the camera angle that really counts. Okay, so we'll go to create and we'll go to cameras and create a camera, and let's call it shot cam. Once we've done that, let's go ahead now and look through it. So make sure it's selected and go to panels, look through selected, and we'll position this camera right in front of our character's face like that. So that's our camera angle we'll be rendering from. And if you ever wanted to render this shot and you wanted to make sure that the character's head is in the shot, you could always go to view and the camera settings and turn on things like the resolution gate and or the safe action gate. Okay, and stuff like that. But we won't be doing any of that. We'll just be creating the shot camera. Okay, and we also want to scrub through our animation to make sure that our character's face isn't coming out of shot, which it shouldn't be. And the last thing we're going to do on the shot camera is lock its translate and rotate channels, so we won't be able to move it by accident, by any chance. So let's make sure we have the camera still selected. You can go to view, select camera, okay, and then select the translate and rotate channels, right mouse button click and go down to lock selected. So now even if we tried, we couldn't move this camera. Okay, now we can go to our perspective. And with all of these things done, we've completed this lesson, and we can now move on to the next lesson where we'll actually start animating.